I got to my breaking point. I felt like it finally to the point where my own mental well-being was not where I wanted to be. And at that point in time, I had to make a very difficult decision.
Welcome to Get Real, Get Results. I'm your host, Chantell Preston. I've got over 2 decades of experience in healthcare operations, project management, and consulting, and I've navigated the dance of career advancement and personal satisfaction firsthand. Get Real, Get Results is your go-to resource for navigating the complexities of a modern-day success without sacrificing your well-being. So buckle up and get ready to challenge the status quo, shatter limiting beliefs, and embark on a transformative journey toward a more authentic, balanced, and fulfilling life. This is Get Real, Get Results, and I'm honored to have you join me.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again today with the Get Real, Get Results podcast. I'm Chantell Preston, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the lie of we need to put everyone else's feelings before our own. I have to tell you, this is the one I struggle with the most. As a female growing up, I was taught that you take care of everyone else before you take care of yourself. I think a lot of us were raised that way, taught to put everyone else's feelings before ourselves. And I have to tell you, I think it's the most detrimental thing to our own mental health that's out there. There's a lot of things that are happening in today's society: burnout, mental health issues, especially from COVID, adding more and more things onto our list, our kids being overscheduled. So again, let's talk about how can we put ourselves first. First thing I want to do is talk about the definition between self-love and selfishness. I always thought if I put myself first, I'm being selfish. But the reality is selfishness is I'm putting myself first and I don't give a shit about anybody else's feelings, right? Whereas self-love is I'm going to put myself first, but I do recognize how it impacts other people. But again, it's kind of like the old example at the airlines, put your mask on first before you give it to somebody else. If I'm not in a good place, mentally, physically, if I'm exhausted, how am I going to be my best self for everyone else? And how am I going to help everyone else? It's a lot of the pressures of today of how do we do it all with a happy face, and act like everything's great. I always love it. You text your friends, how's it going? I'm fine. Well, we all know what I'm fine means. It doesn't mean you're fine. It means that you're pissed off, you hate everyone, but by God, you're going to keep going, and because that's just what we do. So how do we take that time and not feel selfish? I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that we have. I think I finally figured out like the last 2 years of how to kind of deal with that with myself and not feel guilty for not spending that time elsewhere. I'm the world's worst of, hey, I'd like to just lay on the couch and do nothing because I'm exhausted. But then as I'm laying there, I'm thinking about the 587,000 things I should be doing, right? And I'm hoping you're not like me, but there's a good chance that you are. You're doing the same thing. That 30 minutes of watching this show that's just mind-numbing is awesome for your mental health. But in the back of your mind, you're talking to yourself saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And so it's how do we talk different to ourselves? Reframing how we discuss things in our own head. I go back to, an article I wrote for the Wall Street Journal is we're our own worst enemy. We are the ones that put all the pressure on ourselves. We're the ones that think we have to be going 100 miles an hour every second of every day. And I think society is really getting better at slowing us down. Everyone's like, oh, meditate. Oh my God, meditate. That's like putting needles in my forehead. I'm going to have to sit there and try to be calm for 5 minutes. Whereas what I'm doing is racing through my head of the 587 I'm doing my on my to-do list for work. I'm thinking of all the people I should have called back. So there's just certain things that aren't effective for me that may be for you. And so I'm not saying that my way is the best way. I'm just saying find a way to put yourself first. And that doesn't mean in every aspect of our life, but I think we do have to have a place and a time where we can just do what we want. Take a walk, read a book, take a bath without 500 kids talking to you at the same time, which is absolutely impossible in my own home. It's, things that we can do to help give us that break and that mental refresh, the mental refresh that we need. Burnout's a big component of what's happening. You see a lot of women dropped out of their careers in COVID just because it was so much to try to handle. We're all there. And I have to tell you, I'm one of those people. COVID was incredibly difficult on me. As I mentioned in a previous podcast, I'm running hospitals. I'm trying to raise my family. I had small children at home. It was so much. We were experiencing things at work that I never in a million years would have thought I had to deal with. The unknown, I think that's scary for everyone. We're all trying to figure out and predict what the next day was going to be like. And sure enough, my predictions were always wrong. And we kept thinking it's going to be short-lived, and it wasn't. My kids at school, we came home for spring break and we never went back. I saw the mental struggle my oldest was having. She's a very energetic, personal, social kid. So not having that social interaction was very challenging on her. So here we are again, trying to juggle 5,000 things. I got to my breaking point. I felt like it finally to the point where my own mental well-being was not where I wanted to be. And at that point in time, I had to make a very difficult decision. I had 400 and some employees. I loved my people, and I still do. I had put great individuals had come to work for us on, my reputation and my promises of what we were going to be as an organization. So I felt obligated to stay and to be there and to be the head and to be the energy and to always have the smile and the positivity in every aspect. I got to a point where I had to put myself first, and I had to say, hey, I'm not here. I'm not doing the organization. I'm still an owner, but I'm not the best person to run this organization. And so I took a step back, and it was the best decision that I ever made for me personally. And it was probably, in my head at the time, the most selfish decision I've ever made, because again, I had made all these promises to these individuals. I felt like personally I had to live up to those. What I also realized at the same time after I left is that I had built such an amazing culture, and I had brought in such great people that they didn't miss a beat. Now, granted, I'm sure they miss me, and they'll tell you that they do, but they didn't miss a beat. Why? Because we built an unbreakable culture. We built a culture that people wanted to be in and work for. We didn't have the retention issues that a lot of companies had during COVID. Why? Because people wanted to be there. We inspired them. We wanted to take care of our communities. We didn't change who we were as an organization. We just changed some of the dynamics of who was running the organization. And so again, burnout's a big thing. And I'm trying to help you avoid some of the mistakes I made. I probably stayed a little too long, but again, I was really internally struggling with how do I put myself before everyone else? And some of that started with my 1 hour a day of walking, and having that time with myself of what makes me happy. What are the things I want? What are the things I don't want? And really having that time to dig deep within myself to determine, what do I want my life to look like, right? Over the next, 10, 20 years, what am I passionate about? I was passionate, don't get me wrong. I didn't dislike my job. I didn't hate going to work every day. I just knew that the energy I had for what I was doing was faltering. And so I wanted to give the organization the right person to be able to take it and lead it from that point forward. And at the same time, me getting to do what I wanted to do, spend more time with my kids, getting to go coach their softball teams and work on my dance bar and things like that, that gave that energy back to me that I had kind of lost during COVID. So that was one of my things that I chose to do. The other thing that I'll be real vulnerable about at this point is my mother unexpectedly passed away a few months ago, and it was the most devastating situation of my life. We were supposed to launch the podcast a few months ago. Unfortunately, we had to put everything on hold. I had to take care of me. It was brutal. It was unexpected. My mother was my best friend. We all go through things in life, and that's where we talk about reassessing what's important. I'm so happy that I took the time that I did after COVID, because I spent an enormous amount of time with my mother. We traveled together. She lived down the street most of the time. And so again, doing things that gave me that energy. I had no idea. She wasn't sick. There was nothing wrong with her. But unfortunately, her time had come. And I have to tell you, if I hadn't made some of those decisions to put me first, I wouldn't have gotten the opportunities that I got to spend time with her like I did over the last few years. I also needed that time after my mother passed to just mentally get myself back in a healthy place. I can't say I'm totally there. I'm there almost. I'm back to my normal self in a different way. I've learned that it's a different norm, a new norm for me and my family. I had to check out from the world that I knew, and that's all I've ever known, to say, I've got to take the time to deal with and mourn and grieve the situation with my mom. Now, not everybody has that opportunity to do that. But what I'm telling you is, if you're in those situations, sometimes it's important to put yourself first and take that help that you need. Find your tribe. My tribe was there in full force. They were all ready to stand up and be there when I needed them, because they knew that this was going to be a challenging situation. And some of my tribe have been through situations, losing a spouse, losing a parent, and helping me figure out it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to not want to get out of bed. It's okay to give yourself some self-compassion, because I'm used to go, 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 go. No, I can deal with everything. I am always in control. I had zero control. It's kind of funny. We tell everybody, it's kind of like my mom said, hey, hold my beer. You want to see what resilience is like? Let me show you what resilience really is. And again, I'm getting through it by all the things that I've told you in the past. My tribe, taking care of myself. Some of the things that we've discussed in these previous episodes have helped me get to where I am and be able to share these things with you. I didn't cry. I'm pretty proud of myself. I wanted to. I didn't cry. But again, that's real life. And we all deal with challenging situations that come up unexpectedly. And so how can we get through them to be our best selves, both personally and professionally? And that's by using some of these small little nuggets. It's not the huge, I'd give it all back to have my mom back. I'd give all my successes back, right? But at the end of the day, I know how proud she was. And we would talk about this. She was such in awe. How I want to help so many people, she'd want me to continue to carry on. So again, it's about putting ourselves first. And I had to take that time to be able to do that. I'm back on my path. I'm super excited about it. And she's watching over me every step of the way. But again, what can we do to put ourselves first sometimes? And I'm not saying all the time, because trust me, my kids come first most of the time, my job, everything else but me. But again, carving out such a small little time to be able to have that has been so invaluable to me. So if you're listening to this right now and you can identify with what I'm saying, I'm going to give you a few tips that might be helpful for you to implement within your own life. And so one of the things I've learned, especially in the last couple of months, is act, don't react. Okay. I've also learned don't knee jerk. So when situations hit me, I have to sit back, almost count to 10 before I act on whatever's being said. When I react, it usually gets me in trouble and I feel bad later because I probably say something I shouldn't have said. So again, it's how you react to something, or how do you act versus react to something. Okay. Secondarily, self-talk. We all talk to ourselves. I've learned to be really compassionate with myself in regards to how I feel on certain days. Not wanting to do certain things. Wanting to get more accomplished, but not feeling like it. Would rather go do something else. So really think about and be cognizant of how you're speaking to yourself. Think about this in the old adage of, would you talk to someone else the way you're talking to yourself? Think about that when you're talking to yourself. Would you say that to somebody else, but you're saying it to you, and you're supposed to be the most important person in your life? Think about those things, because what we continue to tell ourselves is what we believe. And then thirdly, don't forget, this is a journey. Nothing's going to happen overnight. This is one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with, because I realize I'm so used to being in control of everything. I'm used to fixing it. I'm a fixer. Let's just fix it. We'll be done. Be great. It's a journey. It takes time. And sometimes we don't want to use that and give up that time, but unfortunately we're not in control of it. So think about those things. I'm giving you permission to let something go. Go do something you want to do. Take 5 minutes from yourself. If you only have 5 minutes, take 5 minutes and just breathe. Just close your eyes, enjoy. Be present in the moment. I always hate when people say that. Be present in the moment. La, la, la. Okay, we're not really built like that. I'm trying really hard to be present. Don't worry about what I'm going to do tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday. Worry about right now. I'm here. I'm breathing. Everyone around me knows the best thing I love to say is they ask me how I'm doing. I say, living the dream. I'm living the dream. I woke up, I'm breathing. It's a positive day. Really celebrate the small victories in life. It doesn't always have to be huge victories. Enjoy. I'm giving you the permission to do that. We sometimes feel like we can't do it. We're looking for validation from somebody else. I'm giving you the permission. I'm your friend. Do it. You have permission. Do something that's indulgent to you over the next week. Take that as an action item from today. Go do something that you're enjoying. Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. Like I said, we appreciate you guys being here. Have a great week and take care of yourselves.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Get Real, Get Results. Now get off your ass, get out there, and enjoy the life that you want to live. We're here if you need guidance, and until next time, do your best, enjoy the small victories, and stay unstoppable. And don't forget to visit chantellpreston.com for coaching or keynote booking information. And remember, you have to get real to get results.